Hello, welcome back.
Welcome. Week 6? Red Zone DFS.
5. I almost got screwed
5.
up. I almost got screwed up on that because college is 1 week ahead at week 6, and so that was in my brain from the earlier stream. So
we got a good slate this week. Unfortunately, we don't get the big firepower game that is on Monday night on the main slate. But still super interesting. A lot of good games. We are rolling just Vinny and myself. Joey is finding his inner chi at his work retreat and trying to become more calm of a person. So we support that here. Vinny,
we're all about mental health. Good. Yeah. I opted not to go to a work retreat to find myself after last week's slate. I just decided to pour more money into it and just double down and bounce back. I do what every real gambler does. So feel good.
Yeah, I mean, I felt good about my process last week. I was on the right game, the Detroit game. I even tweeted it out Monday. I think it was either Sunday night or Monday morning. Don't move off the Detroit game because all these Detroit players are out. Stick with it.
Yeah.
It just turns out that I didn't play enough of those guys.
I mean, dude, the winning Millie lineup had like 5 or 6 guys from that game. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we often talk about it. You know, a lot of people just will choose to not do that, right?
Yeah.
And if you do feel good about a game like that, then you kind of just got to go all in and do it. There's another game I think that has sneaky potential like that this week. I don't know if there's going to be quite enough firepower in that game. But it's going to be pretty low owned, so I'm excited to kind of delve into it a little bit to see if we can find one of those. Pretty happy about a lot of my lower owned guys. Kenny Pickett was my low owned guy who went for over 100 yards. He certainly went 4x his value. So
yeah, last week was just bananas, dude. I mean. Yeah, I don't know how many 90-point games we're going to get this season. I'm sure there will be a few more mixed in over the next 12 weeks or so, but I'm with you. I mean, I think there's different ways to approach different slates. Like, I still won money by playing the game, but I had no chance of taking anything down without 6 guys from there, right? So those weeks are going to happen. I'm with you. I'm excited about this week, though. I feel like I have a pretty tight and condensed player pool and stacks where I want to go. So it's rock and roll, man.
So hopping into the one thing, kind of just looking over the slate, there's no real quote unquote chalk this week. So we really don't have to worry about like getting different just to get different. This is the classic week of you find your stacks and you find your teams that you want to play and you play your guys.
You get it.
And starting off with quarterback, Vinny, who is your guy up here at the top? Let's say above 7,000. So the top 4. Who are you going? Who's your main guy?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ride with Jalen Hurts here.
Okay.
I like that. Well, one, I mean, Arizona is just shown to be pretty much a mess.
They're terrible.
They're really bad. The other reason I like this is they do feel like a team that has some firepower. It may look sloppy. It may be terrible, hard to stack because we don't know where it's coming from, but Arizona can score points, right? So my hope here is that offense will provide a little bit more of a pushback in the game just as a whole, game flow wise. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for. I like that it's in Arizona, right? So we don't have to worry about any conditions. There's no weather issues. I'll let you touch on your top, high-end guy, but, and I have my reasons, which I'll go to unless, that's something that you love. Maybe you can talk me onto it, but there's a few other reasons why I'm not like quite as high as on some of the other, high-priced guys.
So my one guy that I'm going to have most exposure to up here is going to be Justin Herbert.
Okay. He was on my
Cleveland
list.
can't. This is the game that I think that has that big shootout potential. The Chargers defense sucks. Cleveland's defense sucks. And the Cleveland offense has shown that they could put up some points. Really like the stacking options with Herbert. I like mixing in. I'm going to not really have any Keenan Allen this week. It's good for me. It's going to be, a couple of other guys. But then we'll talk about stacks at the very end for our favorite stacks. But I think that, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these guys. But I just think the game flow.
Yeah.
For 7,100, the extra that I can do with that extra 1,000, because I do like Jalen Hurts. The extra that I can do with that extra 1,000 in Herbert, I really, really like that stuff. There's a lot of higher end wide receivers that I like playing this week, and there's a lot of value at running back, I think, this week.
Yep.
So I'm going to be more apt to pay up for quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that I'm going to be gravitating towards. So below.
Yeah, real quick. I definitely have some interest in Josh Allen. I'm worried for two reasons. One, it could either sway one way where they just absolutely stomp these guys out and this one's over at halftime, like that Tennessee game, which again, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs hit value in that game in a half. So that's possible. I'm also I don't know why this is. This just might be a mind thing, but I get really concerned in the NFL when there's just gigantic spreads. I feel like there's something weird here. Kenny Pickett, who knows? Maybe Pittsburgh looks a little better with him. I don't know. I just don't have a great feeling about it. I'll have a Josh Allen stack or two, but it's not going to be my main guy this week just because I just don't feel – I have a weird feeling about that game.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from there. He's just really expensive too, and his stacking options are really expensive. So
they are. Yep.
If I'm gonna have a couple of lineups with him as well, but kind of like last week where I pivoted off of a lot of Buffalo stuff because of the weather.
Yeah.
And just went to other games. If you happen to get that right, then you're good to go.
Yep.
So that's kind of my thinking. Where are you liking, let's say between, let's say 5,600 to 6,400, who's your favorite guy in that range?
I mean, my favorite guy, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but it's definitely Tampa here. I think this is a great bounce back spot for the Bucs at home. They got absolutely throttled by Kansas City on Sunday night. Tom usually does not like that and responds very well when they get, taken to the woodshed. So Atlanta's defense sucks. They're not anything special. They should have Godwin back, hopefully. I mean, he popped up with another injury this week, but
I know it's crazy.
Which is not ideal. But again, I think him, Mike Davis, you could go. I have a sneaky play as well in this game that I like. I just think Brady's in just a really good spot at 6K to bounce back and have, it's a good 25 plus point game here.
I don't disagree with you. This is a weird one for me because, I know we talked about, not worrying about ownership. He is going to be the highest owned. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the highest owned guy. Right. Atlanta's kind of in shambles. For me, between the 64 and 5,600 range, I'm going full on Trevor Lawrence. He's been bad a couple of weeks here. They get Houston.
Yeah.
They're just going to kick. They're just going to kick their ass. Houston's defense. Houston has a sneaky good pass rush, and they actually have a decent run defense, which is why I like this. It's really easy to just go T-Law and Kirk and then just kind of move on, right?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I'll say just real quick on that is I'm on it a little bit, digging in a little bit more. The last 3 games, Houston's the third worst as far as rush defense. So they've given up averaging 170 a game, only better than Chicago and Seattle. So I'm with you. They're not any good anyway, but I agree with you. I think he is in a good spot here for sure.
The other one that is kind of a pass funnel, and this guy is a big wild card.
Give it to me.
I think it's a Wentz week.
Yeah, baby. I had him as my 1%er this week.
Here's the problem is that he's so difficult to stack. I almost hope that Curtis Samuel is out. He popped up on the injury report. He's questionable. So that way we can actually just play Terry and like not have to worry about it, you know?
I just have a hard time playing Terry right now, man.
Well, I get it, and I understand, and I that's my main apprehension with Wentz is I'm having trouble of finding who to stack him up with. But are you going to anybody below the 5,500 and below? Or are you red rifling it against Seattle?
No red rifle BB gun for me. I do have interest in a few guys, though. I will be playing Teddy Bridgewater here at 5,400.
Okay.
And I will be playing Zach Wilson.
Milson.
I think, like you talked about that Cleveland
Chargers
Judy. Game.
Sorry.
That Cleveland Chargers game is being the sneaky one for you. I think this is the one for me.
I like this one quite a bit, too.
I like it because we get two teams. Their defenses are both not very good. Division game. The weather will be good. I think, Zach Wilson is always kind of feeling himself. He's back. There's a lot of weapons in this game, which is what I like, right?
Yeah.
You've got Tyreek, Waddle, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, tight ends. Like, they've got it all. And both teams aren't really, like, run-focused, right? So, like, we should see – I am thinking some fireworks in this game. I'm going to have stats on both sides here. Like, this is kind of what I like this week.
You would really hope that was the case, right? I think it's weird that everyone's avoiding this game because they just think that, like, because Tua's out, it's going to be a bad game. I don't really get it. Like, to me, there's there's a drop-off. Don't get me wrong, but there's not, like, a massive drop-off. We're not going from Tom Brady to Kyle Trask here.
Teddy carried the water for that Saints team when Breeze went out a few years ago and won a bunch of games. Like,
exactly.
Teddy can win games in this league and play
100%.
Like, after it. So,
what Tua has been doing the last couple of weeks isn't anything overly special. He's got really special dudes he's throwing to.
Well, you got to remember, they have some deep threats. Like, they are going to take some shots, but like their offense is get the ball in the hands of these two and let them get it.
100%.
Right. So I know like New York has Sauce Gardner who's been playing awesome, but like we've seen it before. Tyreek is matchup proof when he's feeling it.
Yeah.
Waddle's matchup proof when he's feeling it. I'm not scared off by like Sauce Gardner. You know what I mean?
No.
I just like it. Tyreek and Waddle are obviously expensive, but the quarterbacks are cheap, right? So you're not double paying up like you would like Allen and Diggs here. And I think we could see, 20+ point games out of both of these guys. And at that price, like you're 4X in it, you're in a fine spot,
Yeah.
So I like both of those guys. I'm with you, man. I had Wentz here on my player pool, 1% ownership. The Titans defense, the one thing that makes me nervous is they play better against bad teams. Like I know that sounds weird, but like, they just do, they get exposed by good teams, but like the bad teams, they take care of business on. But Tennessee's given up the third most passing yards in the league.
Yeah,
by average the last 3 weeks. So
they're a massive pass funnel. Their pass defense is big league terrible.
And so the number one worst defense over the last 3 games in the passing game is Miami.
Exactly. So,
I know that's skewed with that Baltimore shootout, but like still not great.
I really like the Wilson call. I'm probably going to be, riding with you on that. I've looked at a couple of lineups with that, and I really like how you can access some really premium players at some other positions for your ancillary spots with that.
I think we were talking about this. We were talking about this last week, and it was kind of my fear, having to pay up at quarterback. But as long as you get the full stack correct. In your receivers top, you're fine. Like, even if Josh Allen goes for 30-35, right, you just can't have, like, a chalky Diggs and, someone else who's chalky go off, right?
Yeah.
Then you're in trouble. But if Diggs doesn't or Josh Allen puts up 30 and Diggs is, like, 18, you're fine. Like, you're in an okay spot as long as the Jets or whatever take care of business. So I'm kind of interested in that this week, and it's mainly because the running back position, I like a few guys way up top that and a few other receivers that I'm going to mix in up top. So I think that's going to be the majority of my builds is like 6K and below this week.
Okay.
Is there anybody else in there that you like or have interest in?
Not really.
I mean, I'm sure you'll take some dart throws, but anybody that you can like.
Yeah, the main thing I have interest in that I took advantage of today personally was our deal with Manscaped and Manscaped supporting our podcast.
Absolutely.
We started thinking about Christmas presents today. What are we going to do? You know, I've got 3 brothers-in-law. Well, 4 now. One of them happens to be my best friend. Look, what am I going to get those guys, right? We need to have something. Everyone's getting together for Christmas this year. I said, you know what? We've got the 20% off deal with Manscaped. I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to pull the trigger. I use Zone 20, manscaped.com. I got free shipping, and I'm getting 4 lawnmower 4.0s, the trimmers. They're going to love it. It's proprietary technology trusted by over 6 million buyers already across the world. You guys can take advantage of it too. After having the actual equipment, the lawnmower for the last few weeks, I mean, man,
it's a game changer.
What better
man.
gift? You know,
the one thing that like is a big game changer for me is the light on the end, right? Like dark room. I don't want to get too graphic, but some spaces that are a little bit dark and like, you know, like it's tough to see what you're doing down there. This thing has this like insane LED light on there that just absolutely, it makes it amazing. The brother-in-law thing is great for gifts because like, I mean, my brother-in-law happens to be like old school farmer. I don't know if he's ever trimmed anything. So that might be a gift for us as well. I mean,
It's just literally so easy. I was talking about it with my wife. We're starting to say, hey, we got to start knocking out some Christmas presents. Yeah. We don't go crazy, but with the discount, I mean, this is something that they'll have for a long time. And I like giving gifts that people can actually use, right?
Totally.
We've got Christmas coming up. We've got a lot of other holidays. Hanukkah is coming up, the 8 crazy nights. You got to get it. You got to come up with 8 different gifts. There's gifts scattered all over manscaped.com. So look, manscaped.com, promo code zone20, 20% off plus gets you free shipping anywhere in the world. Take advantage of it. You're supporting us by supporting Manscaped. And look, at the end of the day, you're getting a quality product that either you or somebody else absolutely needs. It's not something frivolous and it's not something that's not going to get used. Go take advantage. Manscaped.com, zone 20, 20% off.
And I said this on the college pod too. Like, just after watching 12 hours of football on Sunday, do your like lady friend a favor.
Please.
Trim up a little bit, groom up a little bit. Like, come on, do something nice for her. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, that's all she probably wants.
100%. So, with that being said, we're going to pop over to running backs here. Now,
RBs.
We've got some interesting stuff going on this week. We're a few weeks in. We're starting to, you're starting to have that vision of who is actually a bell cow, who's actually going to get a lot of the touches, and whose prices really start to make sense. And there's one guy that is severely mispriced, but we'll start with the higher end guys first. Vinny, who's your guy you're going to 7,300 and up?
Going back to the king, baby. This is my dude. I was on him, stick with him. He, it takes a little bit while. He's like a bear, right? Like in hibernation season, he takes a little while to get out of his grogginess, get out of the cave. But all jokes aside, it looks like Derrick Henry has woken up a little bit. And when Tennessee finally decided to get back to what they do and commit to the running game, give this guy 25, 30 touches a game, all he does is produce. I know he's expensive. Washington's rush defense has gotten a little bit better, but whatever, man. They're just going to grind him to a pulp, and I will absolutely have some king.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's tough to argue with that one.
He's just so consistent. You know what I mean? Like, as long as they don't get hammered, like coming out of the gates, which Carson Wentz, he'll be in this game script the entire time getting the rock, right? Yeah. Like we've seen this team before down like 14 and they're still going to just turn around and hand the ball off to him. So for me, it's Henry up top. I mean, I like a few other guys, but if I had had one bullet, that's where I'd fire it.
I'm really torn between two guys up there, and it's Chubb and Eckler. In the same game,
yeah,
we saw the Eckler that we were waiting for last week, and I was all over it, and it really, really helped. 3 touchdowns. Not saying he's going to go for 3 tugs again, but that's the kind of upside that Eckler possesses. And Nick Chubb possesses the same thing, just in a little bit different way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play game stacks. So honestly, I have a couple lineups built with both of these guys already, because it's just the easy thing to do, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, you could certainly make the argument that if you're really, really high on the Chargers this week, that to play a little bit more Kareem Hunt. But even in a negative game script, they just keep giving the ball to Nick Chubb. If Deshaun Watson was playing quarterback, there might be a lot more validity to that because they can truly open up the offense. But with Jacoby Brissett back there, they're really not going to do too much.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of the two guys that I'm thinking about up there.
I think Eckler, he's just. I always have a hard time because he has upside to be the highest scoring running back every week, right?
Yeah.
The problem I have with him is he still hasn't gotten even 15 carries in the game. So you got to get the catches, which he has gotten, right? Like it's a trend, like 7, 8, and 10 targets, but he's got to get into the end zone. And I get a lot of these guys do, but Chubb can go for 150, 160 on the ground and not score, which we've seen, you know what I mean? Just on a volume play. So I don't know. I'm with you. I love both of these guys. We were big on Chubb last week. He's just continuing to get the rock. Like, I'm not going to go away from that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you can really go wrong here. I think both guys are great. Henry, Chubb, and Eckler, from what I'm seeing, are all going to be sub 10%.
Yep. So that'll bring us down, going to the next level of we'll just call it the 6,000. So 69 to 6. Here's where the majority of the running back chalk is lying this week. And most of it, I am completely fine going away from.
Who's the chalk lining up to be from what you're seeing?
Fournette, 18 to 23%. He just keeps popping in the optimals every week, and people just keep playing him. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like,
here I have 2 problems with it. One, their offensive line is destroyed, right? They've lost multiple starters already this year. That's gonna hurt
I get
him.
the reasons for wanting to play him, but it on a week where there's going to be really no chalk, the few small pieces of chalk, which are Fournette and then Kamara, are the 2 highest owned running backs. Like, that's just a fine. Like, okay, like if they beat me, like that's fine. Then they beat me, right?
So be it.
The 2 guys that I'm going to in this range and really, really like in this range are Miles Sanders and Jamal Williams. Miles Sanders is playing an Arizona team that has an absolutely terrible rush defense, and he is getting most of the carries. We're not going to see Boston Scott again, so it's just going to be him and Gainwell. Yep. Gainwell, lucked into a touchdown last week. He wasn't getting many opportunities. He was essentially just giving Sanders a blow and got into the end zone.
Right.
That's fine with me. As far as Jamal, I'm all over that again with especially if St. Brown sits again. He's just getting so much volume in that offense, and the Patriots defense just not very good.
What was cool about the Jamal thing for me, at least, is like we saw literally the most extreme game flow, like air, you know what I mean? Like passing, like other guys were getting it. He still got 20 touches.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so he didn't get played out of the game.
No, he's not a player that's going to get played out of the game like that.
They have nobody else, which is awesome. So I'm with you there. I will play Sanders and Jamal Williams over Fournette and Kamara every day.
100%. Sanders is coming in at like sub 5% ownership, which is a little wild. Jamal's 12 to 15%, which is fine.
I'm more than fine going there.
Do you have anybody else in that 6,000 range?
I do, and this is why I was just a little bit hesitant on the Lawrence thing. You could do both, actually, but I have a lot of interest in James Robinson. 5% ownership this week. I think he burned, including myself, a lot of people last week. Everyone saw the conditions, thought he would just absolutely get a ton of the touches last week in that rain, and James Robinson burned everyone, including myself. And I'm totally fine with that because that's going to drop major ownership here. Houston's rush defense absolutely sucks, like we talked about. I also don't mind a little ETN there as well, if we're talking about just this game. But I'm going to go back to James Robinson, who I think a lot of people are going to flock off to or off of, because I just think it's an awesome spot for him. So
no, it's a good spot. The only other person in the sixes that I had some interest in was Devin Singletary.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. That's been kind of your play all year.
Well, I mean, people just don't. I don't know why, but people just aren't playing him. But the fact of the matter is that, like, I mean, he is the running
guy. Yeah. He's similar to Eckler for me, and he's like a less productive Eckler, which is okay, But he's that offense, right? Like his 11 carries is the most he's gotten all year, and so he's got to get the targets in the passing game. And now that Gabe Davis is showing to be a little healthy, like makes me a little nervous that that's going to happen.
Yeah, I just think it's more of a, if you think that the Bills are going to throttle Pittsburgh, he's going to get more than 11 carries, right? He's going to get probably 15 to 17 carries in this game. And they'll just kind of say, hey, look, like, let's just get out of here, right? So
for sure.
Now we kind of get to the really interesting range.
Wow. I mean, I am playing them both. I may have both of them in the same lineup, and that's Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson.
Okay.
I'm not even going to mess around necessarily here. Like, this is what we talk about, like where we can afford, some of these bigger stacks and stuff. But dude, I think both are going to eat on Sunday.
I agree with you.
I went into this like thinking if Ramondre was going to balloon up to like 15, 20%, I would just play Harris and vice versa. But unless I'm missing something, I'm seeing both of them are going to be pretty low owned here.
Yeah, they both look like somewhere between 9 and 11%, which is not enough for me to have to go off to somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking here. I'm seeing on the site that I use, or one of them, they are hovering in the 6% range. So I'm sure they'll gain some run here, but either way, man, I have no problem playing both. Like in every lineup, almost like just go 50% Damian, 50% Ramondre.
Yeah,
both of them may blow up.
I think personally, I'll have more Ramondre.
That just seems like so that seems like it's the talk of the industry, but like the numbers don't totally reflect that.
Well, they're getting.
I get he's the sexy like name and he's the young gun and all that, but like,
well, they're getting about roughly the same amount of overall usage. When you combine rushing and passing, the kicker for me is I play all my lineups on DraftKings, and if both of them are going to get 20 touches. And Harris is only going to have 2 targets or 2 catches, and Ramondre is going to have 5 or 6.
Right.
Like that's the tipping point for me, right? Their red zone usage is basically even inside.
That's what I mean. Though I just
yard line. Harris has gotten 3 carries. He's converted all 3. Ramondre's gotten 2, and he's only converted 1. So.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, it just feels like every time I hear anybody talking about a Patriots running back, it's like, oh, Ramondre. And it's like, I get it. But, like, this is a 50-50 split. Like, no doubt.
Because of the passing upside. I mean,
I get
Bailey, but everyone thinks that Bailey's zappy because he kept it close against, Green Bay. They're going to be able to keep it close against the Lions. And, I mean, I hate to tell everybody, but the
Lions can score.
The Lions hold the number 1 offense in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So I don't really care where they're going. People are afraid because they're going outside and blah, blah, blah. The weather's going to be fine. They're playing on a
weather will
turf
be fine.
field. Like, it's not a big deal.
I would just like to give New England a little bit more credit here, and Belichick, and just say their game plan has to be coming in here, slow this thing down. Like, don't let Detroit get going, because their offense can score, and we're yet to see if New England can, in those games. So I'm just saying, like, I think both, like, their game plan is going to be, these guys are going to get
I'm not really keen on playing both. Yeah, I'm not really keen on playing both of them.
That's like a huge tournament option, but I'm just saying, like, I like both. Like, they could both eat on Sunday for sure. So
another guy in that range that I don't know why he's priced the way that he is Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
Niners are going to play Carolina. Jeff Wilson just dominates the touches in that backfield. Mm-hmm. So until he stops doing that, I'm just going to keep playing him. And it's not a prohibitive thing to do at 5,500. I mean, if he was like 6,400, yeah, I might be like, okay, there's a choice you have to make there, right? But
yeah,
at 5,500, I mean, he's $100 more than Mark Ingram. Like, like, what are we talking about here? Like, he's $100 less than Cam Akers.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're going to get guaranteed 15 plus touches, probably closer to 20. Especially if they can handle Carolina like we think they will.
You're going to get all of the goal line touches.
Yep.
And Carolina's terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, they are terrible. So,
yep.
Niners playing at the same time. That for whatever reason, they got the little carrot of being able to play the late game going east. They don't have to play early.
Right.
So I like that. Is there anybody else like way down deep here that you're into? Because I have a couple of guys.
2 guys that I have some interest in is ETN. I mentioned him. If we think, or if I think, obviously Houston's defense is that bad. As much as I like James Robinson, like, I do think eventually they'll start to get ETN more involved here.
Yep,
like, I just 100%. Feel like they have to.
Yep.
So that's a dart throw. And in some bigger tournaments, I am going to take some shots. I think up Rachaad White for the Bucks. It's kind of interesting. Like 2 weeks ago, Lenny even brought it up that, like, these guys got to get involved here, right? Like, if you think Fournette is going to be bad chalk, that's an absolute easy way to just create so much leverage. If he becomes more involved in the passing game and Brady starts to trust him, like, Lenny not going to phase out, but like, he's no longer a bell cow. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but that's just a hard pass for me. I'd rather. There's 5 other guys I'd rather play down here than Rachaad White.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, if you're going way, way down, if you just truly can't get there, I wouldn't mind throwing them into one. But what I'm saying is, like, absolutely don't, like, mistake my words. For $400, you have way better plays at 5,500 with Stevenson.
I mean, for $100, but there's guys cheaper that I'd rather play. So, like,
Raheem?
I'd much rather play Raheem Mostert. Yes. I'd much rather play Michael Carter. I would much rather play that's probably about it.
That's how much more.
Probably about it.
I'm not touching Algier. I do, as much as Mahomes carved these guys up like a Thanksgiving turkey, I still have respect for the Bucs defense. I just don't love that spot for him. That's pretty much it for me, man, as far as the running backs go.
I'm good on running backs.
We kind of missed this last week. We didn't really realize this, but outside of stacking options, which we'll get to, what are some one-off receivers that you like?
I mean, he's really expensive, and he's going to maybe be the highest owned player, but I think you just have to continue to play Cooper Kupp.
Dude, it's ridiculous. Seeing that in person was unbelievable on Monday night.
Vinny, he's got legitimate 40 to 50 point upside every week, as if he just converts one touchdown.
I know.
I mean,
and he's not getting there. Yeah, which is crazy. He's getting 30 points a game, not scoring really.
He didn't have a touchdown last week, and put up a 30 spot.
19 targets.
I mean,
absurd.
uncanny. So outside of Stacks, he's a guy that I really, really like up top. He's about the only guy that I'm going to up top. I'm playing
Same
him
here.
over Jefferson this week.
Me
Everybody
too.
else kind of fits into a stack.
I'm just kind of scrolling through my list here. I'm with you. We talked about St. Brown. If he plays, I'll have some mild interest there.
Yep.
You're playing it more than I am, but I like Christian Kirk as a one-off. Like he's going to be in your obviously Jacksonville stacks.
100%.
Brandon Cooks, your obvious bring back in that game when you do it.
Easy.
I do like Chris. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Gabe Davis, 100% healthy.
Yeah.
No limitations this week. This could be a great week to kind of get him going a little bit more and give Stephon Diggs a little bit of a breather, maybe not play him as much. I'm not super into playing a lot of Brady, I don't think, this week, but I will definitely be jamming Mike Evans in to get exposure to that.
Totally. Godwin's picking up all the ownership, which is interesting. But I'm curious to see what happens if he's out or whatever, like what that does. Because if Evans is going to stay low, like hell yeah, that's one of my favorrit plays this week for sure.
Amari is obviously going to be in quite a bit of he dudded last week, but that's okay. We'll go right back to him. He's still getting the target share. It's fine.
Yeah, I think Olave at 5,700, even with the red rifle, is fine.
Priority. Yep.
I saw
56.
Lockett. I saw you throw him in a lineup that you sent me earlier this week, but Bobby Woods at 52.
Yeah, I mean, look, with no Treylon Burks in a game that I believe I guess the Niners dodged a bullet with that supposed pick that they were going to trade up to take. I mean, holy crap! That guy's got first tone now. Like,
I would say Debo was probably the right guy to hold on to.
If they would have gotten rid of Debo for that pick and then taken that guy, I mean, there could have been people fired already. I really like Ayuk this week. I think that they're going to have to. I think Carolina, obviously Matt Rule's playing for his job. Ayuk is a guy who I can throw in there at 5,400, who's got 20-point upside. And I think he's got a pretty safe floor too of about 10 points in this game. I think that Carolina, as much as I do like Jeff Wilson because he's going to get all the goal line stuff, Carolina's going to stack the run and try and make Jimmy make a weird throw. And in that same game too, DJ Moore, 5,200, kind of got back on the wheel a little bit last week. He's the guy that they have to throw to. So,
I mean, below that, the guys that are not in my stacks, Jacoby Myers, 4,800 if he plays.
Yeah, if he's active, he's absolutely the guy to play for the Patriots.
For sure. And I know he's kind of part of a stack. If he plays, like I'll have some interest in Jahan Dotson from Washington. We talked about like who do you stack him with? Whatever. If you're already getting weird and wild with Wentz, you may as well go, take some of the cheaper options too.
Yep.
Your boy George Pickens, what are you doing here? It was a great call last week by him. Going
back to him. Yeah, okay. He's the downfield guy.
Yeah. He's got some rapport with Mr. Pickett there, young guys.
So Pickens, Pickett, a couple of pickers,
you had to talk me off Pickett earlier this week, so
let's just you don't need to play Pickett, just play Pickens, and then you can get all the exposure that you want, because he's a guy that can easily be going into the fourth quarter with like 6 points, and then garbage time, his projected ceiling is way too low, I think. I mean, his projected ceiling is only 13.7. I don't really know where the projections are coming from for that point.
Yeah, that's insane because, like, if they are, let's say they go down 28 or something, like, they're going to rest Deontay and Claypool before they rest him. Like, he's going to play. Like,
100%. He's going to be the guy that's playing. So,
Zay Jones, 4,100. If he plays, he's in a great spot, I think.
Yeah, he was only limited today, so it looks like he'll be just fine.
What about Rondale?
Yeah, I mean, if I definitely like him in that game stack, especially if I'm going to choose to play Kyler Murray. in that game stack.
That's true.
I mean, they were actively trying to get him the ball last week. He was just getting blown up in the backfield and like weird shit was happening. He's a guy, though, that if he hits it big, I mean, he's got 24, 26 point upside that he
for that price tag, he can pay off in like 2 plays, you know.
And and we saw it as soon as kind of he's now in the lineup. Dortch is really not a thing anymore.
No, he's done.
He's still going to be out there running routes, but like, I mean, they would rather get the ball to a more dynamic playmaker in Rondale. Dortch just is a good possession receiver, and that's probably not gonna help too much.
Below that, my call. I'm really hoping he doesn't play because I've been on this guy since draft day. I wanted my team to take him. I heard some other shows call him out today, and I was pissed because I wanted to be the guy to say it first. But Khalil Shakir at 3,200.
Oh, nice. I was thinking about him too.
If McKenzie does not play, fire him up. And I may take some shots on him even if McKenzie plays because, dude, he's super electric guy at Boise State. I mean, we saw what he did in the preseason and just absolutely lit it up. He just needs opportunities. And I'll go as far to say, like, if he gets opportunities and Josh Allen gets him the ball, like, McKenzie might slide back into the 4 hole.
Well,
like he is really
not only that
good.
too. They've got like the Dust Bowl Jamison Crowder on there.
Well, he's out now.
Yeah,
Crowder broke his ankle.
Oh well, okay.
Yeah, he's done. So that's what I mean. Like Shakir's 4 on the depth chart now. Like, and you know that probably means he's going to mix in at least give some breathers and stuff. And if McKenzie doesn't play, he's now the starting slot receiver in that offense at 3,200.
I was looking at him too. Glad you brought him up.
Yeah. So if that's it for me.
Let's move on to tight ends. The highest priced tight end this week is George Kittle at just a measly 5,200. Where are you going? 4,000 and up, let's say.
Well, I'm not going to be playing the 49ers 6 offensive lineman George Kittle. I'm just kidding. He's actually running routes, but I don't know, man. I don't want a lot of this offense right now. It's there's just no reason.
There's just no reason to play Kittle. I mean,
it's just not very good, the offense. Like, they're winning games with their defense, and
they scored 17 points against a mediocre Rams defense last week at home. So
I don't know. I think 2 of my favorite guys, like Ertz and Goddard, is that same game. You know, the 4,700. I think you can play both sides.
100%. I think Zach Ertz is going to be my highest owned tight end of the week. I don't know why people just choose not to play him, but in overall fantasy points, he is tight end 4 to this point on the season so far.
Yeah, Mr. Reliable in that offense.
I mean, and then again, the guy that I want to play, but everybody else saw the same thing, is Tyler Higby with all those targets. He's garnering some ownership. I'm probably going to be fading him. Gerald Everett, who fits into a lot of my Charger stacks, Parham and whatever loser else they have on that team has kind of become irrelevant, and he is the go-to tight end. He's getting all the targets. He's going to be the main guy. So 4,200, that's way too cheap for a guy that has legit 20 to 25 point upside in that game. So whether you're playing the stack or not. Yeah, Parham was there.
Oh, you said Everett. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Everett. Because he's just dominating the tight end snap share. They've got the rookie Trey McKitty, I think it's his second year. He hasn't really planned out how they want, which is why they went and signed Gerald Everett, I think. At 4,200, that's way too cheap for the type of targets he's getting in a game that I think is going to shoot out pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
You got anybody? You got any dumpster divers here?
I do actually. 2 guys that I have a little bit of interest in. If I need the salary savings, is I know he's not getting a lot of targets. This is going to drive you crazy. Just hear me out. Will Dissly for Seattle has caught a touchdown in 3 of 4 games they've played. He's getting like 3 or 4 targets a game. Dude, he's averaging over 10 points a game at 3,300.
That's great. That's like not what I'm looking for from a tight end. I'm looking for guys who have.
Okay, well, he's
like
out.
I think Disley's a good cash game play, but I don't play cash games. So,
well, 3 games straight, he's outscored Kittle, he's outscored Pitts, he's outscored.
Well, I'm not playing any of those
Knox, Gesicki, Like, I'm just saying, like, if you need to go down, like, this is a guy he scores the touchdowns in the red zone. The other guy though that I have major interest in, the guy ahead of him did not practice today, but if Cameron Brate misses, I will have a lot of Cade Otton at 2,500 for the Bucks.
Cade Otton is very, very, very good receiver.
2,500. He had 4 targets last week after Brate got knocked out. Like,
that's
Brady loves his tight ends, dude, and I will play that with Mike Evans, or him with Godwin. Like, I'll pick him off one over. Like, I will play a ton of Cade Otton this week.
Yeah, Cade Otton was going to be the guy that I would go all the way down to as well.
Oh, sorry, stole your thunder.
No, it's okay.
I don't expect Rudolph just to come off like the inactive listing.
I think it's a little strange to me that Dalton Schultz is only 3,400. I know that Cooper Rush is there, but look, I mean, they're going to.
He's just been okay this year,
Well, he's been hurt. And
I know.
He came back last week, and, CeeDee Lamb kind of lit it up. Well, the Rams are going to notice that, and the Rams are going to try and limit CeeDee Lamb as much as possible. I think that Dalton Schultz is a fine play at 3,400.
Okay, well, don't steal my thunder here as far as some of my, favorite stack / bold calls here.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to defense before we hit our stacks.
Yeah, man. Defense is weird this week. I don't love – we're the kings of bargain bin shopping on defense. There's not a lot I love down here.
It is disgusting down there.
Let's go
I can't play anybody below 2,500.
No.
I would like to. You could maybe make a case for the Texans at 24. But that's about it. I think
maybe Chicago, and just hope that it's a Cousins just dog meat game, but they're at home. I don't love that spot at all.
But after the game that we just went to, why would you not just play the Cowboys for 2,500?
So that's the marquee play. They're going to be super chalky, which I don't even.
I mean, I've got them at 6 to 8%.
I know.
Like, that's not chalky.
I feel like they're going to gain up steam here, but
they might.
With you. Down low, they're by far my favorite for sure. As we're rolling up the price rankings, like Price is Right style, like stop me if you get anyone that you have interest in. Like, I don't the Jets, I don't the Panthers, Commanders, no on the Browns, no Lions,
Jags at 3,400. I had starred.
Okay. The Titans at 3K, I have starred. Like, I know they're not great, but they are playing Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
there's a very, very likely turnover somewhere in that game from him, maybe multiple. So, I don't know, man. This might be a week to kind of go up a little bit.
I mean, I like playing the Niners at 3,800 versus fucking Baker Mayfield.
He's terrible.
He's getting pissed off at reporters. Some reporter, you see that today? Some reporter asked him if he's been working on any drills to limit batted balls, and he fucking lost it. He's like, well, if you know of any, send them to me.
Like, oh yeah, Baker. I don't know. Maybe put some stilts in your cleats when you see a little line.
He was. You could tell he was very agitated.
Yeah, I'm with you, Niners. I do have some interest in the Bucks. Again, I think the Tampa just absolutely just destroys Atlanta this week.
Yeah.
Mariota looked terrible last week. That stack really burned me. Now they got to go on the road and play a pissed off Brady and Tampa team that was locked in this week. Yeah, dude. I'm with you. That's kind of where I'm at too.
It's not a lot for me. It's Jags. I guess you put me onto the Titans, and really Jags and Cowboys were really the only ones I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I like playing the Niners just to keep the defense correlation in the Jeff Wilson lineups, and they just kind of fit.
Yeah.
So
what are all right? Let's go top 5 stacks. Just rattle them off here, or you can do one side or a full game stack. Like that counts as one.
So as far as, I mean, I like the Chargers with the Cleveland run back options. You can do Herbert, you can do Eckler, you can do Mike Williams, you can do Gerald Everett.
Yeah.
And then run it back with you can play any of those combinations and then run it back with Chubb and Cooper. And then, I mean, that's fine. If you prefer Hunt because you really think that they're going to get throttled, that's fine too. And that's going to be getting even more weird. But that's probably what I would go to. I think that more people are going to gravitate towards Eckler. I like Eckler, but just to get a little bit different, I'll definitely have a Herbert, Williams, Everett stack. Every week that goes by that Herbert feels a little bit better, and he looked fine last week with that rib thing. That's probably my favorite stack. I think that probably the most under-owned stack this week is going to be the Cardinal stack with Kyler Murray. You can do Murray, you can do Rondale, you've got Hollywood Brown, whatever you do, Ertz is going to be my guy in that. And then you've got some really, really good run back options with the Eagles. You've got Sanders, you've got your pick of A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith. You can go double tight end with Dallas Goedert. I mean, I think that you have a lot of really good options there, and it's a way to get different from Jalen Hurts, who's going to be about 4 or 5 times more owned than Kyler Murray is. And, if it turns into one of those games where Hurts isn't throwing the ball over the field, you could really pay off. So in some of my larger single entry tournaments, those are kind of the 2 more expensive stacks that I'm going to be going to. What about you?
Yeah. I think expensive. I'm probably leaning Bucks and Eagles is probably where I like it the most. As I drop down, I already talked about it. Dolphins, Jets. I just love both sides of that.
That one too.
And then my sneaky stack, parlaying this into bold calls of the week that I think has the potential. I know everyone's kind of just shitting on him and writing him off and everything else. I think this Cowboys-Rams game could pop off a little bit.
Wow.
I know the Rams looked atrocious, but
so if you're going to stack this,
I'm going Cooper Rush, who is slowly but surely taking Dak's job. I'm going Lamb. I'm going Gallup, and I'm bringing it back with Cup. And I'm just keeping it pretty straightforward and simple there. I just don't think like Sean McVay and Stafford.
I mean, if you're going to do that, you might as well throw Higby in the
or you can you can do Higby totally. You can do
like if you're going to put 4 guys. Well, you're already there. If you already get 3 guys on one side and 1 guy on the other,
sure, that actually makes a lot of sense. But I just think like everyone's writing him off. I get it. Like I have no clue how they're going to block Micah Parsons. But again, Sean McVay is not an idiot. The Niners just have their number. Like outside of the NFC Championship game, the Niners have beat them like 6 straight times. Well, like now that was not surprising on Monday.
Well, like, now they're embarrassed. You got the wounded animal kind of theory, right?
You're coming home. Like I think this game, like I could just see it getting going a little bit. I'm not saying the Rams are going to win. I think, but I like Dallas to expose their defense through the passing game. And if that happens, like they're going to have to push it. Like the Rams can't run the ball with that line. So I don't know. I just have a kind of a sneak there. Like I'm going to take shots on that game stack.
I mean, if you wanted to get a little different too, if you listeners out there aren't the biggest Gallup fan, you could throw
Noah Brown's fine.
Or I was even saying Pollard. I was even saying Pollard. Yeah,
that's a good way to do it too.
I really like Pollard.
Yeah,
kind of get a little bit weird in there, but I think Gallup he looked pretty good. I think they want to try and get him a little bit more involved in the offense to take some heat off of CD Lamb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's about it for me. I mean, I think I mentioned it earlier. I really like the Trevor Lawrence stack.
Yeah.
You've got, it's not a full game stack, but it's just T-Law and Kirk and then run back with Cooks. If you wanted to throw ETN in there, you certainly could. Don't think you really need to. But I just think that him and Kirk, who had a bad week last week, recency bias, people are always going to just gravitate completely the other way.
Totally.
I think it's a great bounce back spot for them.
Cool.
All right, so that brings us into our bold calls of the week.
Bold it is. Let's see. I'm pulling up here. I just want to make sure I get the number right. Or you can start if you want, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, everyone knows that I'm an IU homer.
Oh, no, we're back to this.
He hasn't had that breakout game. We're going to have a spike game at some point from Brandon Ayuk. I think this week is the week. 5,400. It's minimal risk, but I'm saying he gets 25 or more DraftKings points.
All right. I got two here. I'm gonna maximize my odds of hitting on this. I think that Dolphins-Jets game goes over 70 on the over-under. It's at 46.5 right now. I think it blows up. And then I think King Henry goes for 35.
Okay. I like that.
It's 10 points more than anything he's done. I was going to say
like
40. That's a lot. 35 for him, I think, feels pretty good. Like a 152, 2 or 3 tugs there.
I'll say from my running back hot take will be another cheap one. I'll say Raheem the Dream goes for 20 plus in that Miami Jets game. I think he's poised to break off a big one. The Jets are terrible at tackling. He's one of the fastest people on the entire field, and he's healthy. I could see him breaking like a big 60, 70 yarder.
I like it.
That's it, I think, right? So,
hey, good show.
As always, please do follow us on Twitter. Like and subscribe, comment on the YouTube. We're going to drop a giveaway early next week for our YouTube subscribers. We really want to try and push to get over 200. We're only about 25 away, so it should be pretty easy to win. Everybody who is a subscriber will be entered into the contest to win. That's how we're going to pick it. So if you've already subscribed, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. If not, look out on Twitter. Twitter is where that contest is going to drop first. We'll put it on our Instagram as well, but Twitter is where it's going to drop, and that's usually where we have the most interaction. Good luck, everybody. If you do play or you want to get a full game slate, I would highly suggest playing the full day of Sunday slate, which incorporates the London game, so you can get exposure to Saquon Barkley, and you can get the Sunday night game, so you can get exposure to both the Bengals and the Ravens. Two really high-scoring offenses that on those full-day slates, a lot of people really kind of forget about that very last game of the day. It's something that I'm going to be attacking this week. So I just want to kind of give everyone that before we get out here. Follow us on Twitter. Again, manscaped.com, zone 20. You know the code. Go use it.
Love it. Good luck, everyone.
Later.